Hey guys, Zim here. Just want to make a quick video showing you guys how to get into Simulation Craft. Simulation Craft is a great program that lets you run tests and make sure you are running the best loadouts that you possibly can. So you're going to need two things for this. You're going to need this program right here, Simulation Craft, and you're going to need an add-on for World of Warcraft, also called Simulation Craft. So, once you load up Simulation Craft, it'll bring up this page here. This is just sort of table of contents. It'll tell you what things are, but overall, you really don't need it. There's a lot of information here. Don't get overwhelmed. You're not going to use most of it, but once you figure out kind of the basics, you can delve in and figure out what stuff is on your own. But I just want simple simulations right now. So I'm going to go to imports because we have to import our character's information. I've already got it here, so yours won't look like that. But what you want to do is come back to Warcraft, type /simc, and then it brings this up. Hit Control C to copy all that information. You can close this out, do whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter. Come back to Simulation Craft over here and come to the Import tab. And then that'll bring up another set of tabs, and we want this SimC add-on. Now, you'll have like one sentence up here saying like, this is where you import from the add-on. Go ahead, highlight it all. You can delete it or just paste in from your clipboard. And this is all of your character's information, which include your artifact weapon information, your talents, and all of your items. So once you have all of that, come over here to options. We want our iterations. I use 1,000. People that get really into this, like, go for like 10,000 all the way to like 50,000. You can do 500,000. But every iteration takes more time to calculate. So 1,000 is just quick, and the margin of error is so small compared to your executed DPS that really I don't find too much of an issue with just doing 1,000. 1,000's quick enough, anyways. For length, I have 300 seconds. Variance and length, 20%. I think those are both default. Fight style might not be default. It's patchwork. If you mouse over somewhere around here, it shows you what each of those means. Patchwork is basically just like you're hitting a dummy, and that's no mechanics or anything like that. So that's all we need here. We don't use any of these. What I want to do is make sure, don't do anything in buffs, make sure scaling is disabled, make sure plots are disabled, and I don't do anything there. Scaling, I will come back to that in a pawn video, but not this time. We'll keep it disabled. So after we have it imported, I'm going to go ahead and click import down here on the bottom right under SimC add-on. And it brings it over here to the simulate tab. Now I'm going to rename this because I'm going to make a comparison, right? So I'm going to name, I'm sorry, tripping over my words. Default loadout. Okay. So I'm going to go down here to the right and just click simulate. See, it's progressing. It'll only take a few seconds. See, if you do 10,000 iterations, that'll take about 30 seconds. But that brings us up to this page right here. And this is what we're looking at primarily, 581,635. So that's about really most of the information. This is showing basically for every cast how much damage you're doing with that ability. So, I mean, there's good information here. Look over it, but it's not necessary. Really what you're looking for is that number right there. Now, I'm going to simulate it again. I'm going to use the same loadout, and I'm going to simulate it again to show you that it actually does simulate every single time. So there is RNG involved in it, because now I'm at 580,000. I was at 581. So there's a margin of error there. And when you compare these numbers, if you go over to options and do more iterations, that number is going to, that gap really is going to shrink. But see, with 1,000 iterations, see how small that difference is? It's like 1,100. Out of 581,000 damage, I'm like 1,000 damage off for my margin of error. I think that's fine. So what I'm going to do now, and I want to show you kind of what Simulation Craft is good for, right? Your trinkets. You want to trinket, or you want to simulate almost every single combination of trinkets you have, because a lot of trinkets have these equip on use procs, like Bloodthirsty Instinct, that's very popular. Your ranged and melee attacks have a chance, so that's a non-static. If you just have trinkets like this Ethereal Urn that are just stat sticks, you really don't need to sim every single combination. But anytime you're dealing with these on use, you want to sim it. And that goes with set bonuses as well. But just to show that, I'm going to equip what I believe will be a decrease in DPS overall for trinkets. I'm going to go to SimC, copy it again. Whoops. Go back to Simcraft. I'll go over here to import, highlight it, paste, import, and we'll call this new trinket. Okay, so I'm going to simulate it once, see what it comes up with, and then I'll simulate it again. So this is showing 564,000, whereas before I was at 580. So that trinket is about 16,000 more damage than the one I just equipped. So I'm going to go ahead and sim that again. Just make sure, I always sim twice just to make sure I'm getting consistent numbers. See, this time the gap was no, it wasn't. The gap was a little bit further apart, 1,500. Still, unless you're really getting to like 20,000, it's not too big of a deal, right? So I'm going to go ahead and narrow these down just so I have one window open for each one. So that's how that works. Like I said, I really recommend simming every different combination of trinket, see what gets the highest. And another thing I want to kind of point out is how it calculates set bonuses. Now, set bonuses are very powerful for Enhanced Shaman. I have the 2-piece. It's very, very powerful. And I have the cloak and the legs. And I happen to have legs that are just itemized better. Same eye level, but it just is itemized better and it doesn't have the set bonus. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to equip those legs, lose my 2-piece bonus, so I just have one set piece there. And I want to show you how that affects the sim. Because there's add-ons like Pawn, where it will just say like something's an upgrade, and that's what happened here. Like it says these legs are better, but I know they're not because of the set bonus. Pawn doesn't know that though. So we'll go over here and import it. And we'll call this no set bonus. And we'll simulate it. And I re-equipped that trinket, so we should be looking for a number in comparison to 580,000, and we're at 540,000. So that set bonus is worth about 40,000 DPS for me. And we'll sim it again just to make sure. And okay, so now we're at about 37,000 off, but still consistent, still under that really 20,000. I haven't seen any discrepancies really greater than like 5,000. That's probably when I would start bumping my iterations up. There are other things like with Pawn, when I get my scale values, I do more iterations just because it's already time consuming. So, and it's something I'm going to base a lot of decisions off potentially. So I want to make sure that it has a lot of good math behind it. But all I'm going to get behind scaling in our Pawn video. To try and keep this as short as I can, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. And I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to do a Pawn video, and I'm going to do a quick video on Tell Me When to help with rotations. So make sure to check those out as well.